Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
Welcome everybody back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast 3 of 4 for me today. I'm your host, of course, Adam Cousins, and you notice behind me and someone that's wearing something that it's all about NWA, which only means one thing. My illustrious co-host, the beautiful Fiona Lockwood, joins us. Fiona, hello, how are you?
I am marvellous. How are you? Thank you.
I'm good, but you're the one that's been the busy one.
I have been particularly busy. I've actually literally just got in the door from a trip to Edinburgh for the day. I've been in the house about 10 minutes, so it was a quick, get the computer on, sit down. So we're here. This is good. We've got lots to talk about.
We do. And it seems weird that NWA is probably one of the shortest programs that you watch, but it has the most things to talk about.
It's just ram-packed of action and non-stop. So
It is, and we'll get down to it. There was more stuff, 75, and announced that we'll get into shortly. But the opening of Powerr was a last chance match between Miss Kate, and Ella Envy. Envy had to plead her case to get another shot at the tag titles. The front office come up with the concept, adding the stipulation that if she loses, they can't challenge for the belts ever again.
Yep.
But luckily enough, in a very good opening contest. Now, the women, we've always, last week or so, there's been this whole thing about women's wrestling, and NWA again just show you if you
women's division, top notch, best of the best.
You book it with a purpose, with a storyline that makes sense. You give them some time, and amazingly, they can create magic like those two did.
Last night, that was a phenomenal match last night. I loved it. What a great way to open the show.
Yes, but she did win with a little bit of shenanigans, though.
A little bit of mischief from Roxy. So,
Yes.
I to be honest with you, I was like the fact that the teammates were ringside, so you had Maddie ringside with Mita and then Roxy. Was it just Roxy? I can't remember if it was just Roxy last night ringside with Ella.
Yeah.
But I thought, if there's people ringside, there's a high possibility that there might be some outside interference, and they proved me right.
You're right, and she did have a handful of tights to get the pin.
She did. So it looks like it's going to be Pretty Empowered versus M95 at NWA 75 for the women's tag belts.
It does, and again, you give that some time, and the magic will happen, as they say. So, very, very good opening, as always with NWA. I don't think I've ever been disappointed with an opening yet. Now, the next match was a bit much tune-up, really. Two singles where they're getting ready to go against each other as a tag. 75, but it was the Thoroughbred, Anthony Andrews, and the Barker, Cody James with CJ. And very hard hitting this, and obviously, Anthony Andrews is quite a bit of big work anyway. But
two big lads just going for it again, which we've seen time and time again in the NWA ring.
Yeah, every time there's two sizable wrestlers in there, they just go for broke in there.
Just try and kill each other, basically.
Yeah, and then literally. Funny you should say that. And I'll just sidetrack quickly. I went to Rev Pro on Sunday, and one of the matches was Dan Maloney and Soraya's brother, Zach Zodiac. They were beating the hell out of each other before the match even started.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was like a gunshot with the chops. And then later on in the day, we had a 10-man, and Colin Mills ended up in my lap, near enough.
I saw the footage of that, actually. I did see the footage of that. That looked entertaining, to say the least.
They were fighting into the bar area and everything. But anyway, sidetracked along. But it's just basically just because we're talking about these two guys beating 7 bells out of each other, like Anthony Andrews and that was. There was a bit more interference in this, but CJ gets caught.
Yeah, and it gets removed from ringside.
He did, and then Andrews hits a dead to right hand. The weird thing was with this, and I haven't seen a body slam.
Yeah.
With a pinfall.
Yep.
I mean, we go back old school here with obviously NWA is the old school setting and everything. A body slam to the 1, 2, 3. When was the last time you see that stuff? Only on NWA do you see it.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. I enjoyed it. I thought
Yeah.
it was a great finish. I don't often get a chance to see Anthony Andrews as a singles wrestler, particularly in NWA. He's normally with AJ and they're normally tag teaming, so it was quite nice to see him just go for it by himself.
Yes.
And AJ wasn't even ringside either this time,
No.
so
The assumption being AJ will probably play next week will be a single against AJ and CJ maybe next week.
you never know.
You never know. You never know with NWA. Yes, the thing you don't know with NWA, and that's the good thing. So the next match has a lot of consequences to it, which we will get into. Obviously, it was the SVGS Jax Dane and Blake Bulletproof Troop Whip, and Silvio was there.
Of course.
Of course, he was. With Magnum Muscle, Dak Draper, and Big Strong Mims, who's back after his injury.
Good to see him back in the ring again.
Indeed. This was more to do with stuff that's going on between Jax Dane and Tim Storm. Really, this is what this pretty much was about, to be quite honest. But anyway, there was Mims got the win with a German suplex to Troop.
He did
to get the win. Now, but it wasn't really about that. It was about the aftermath. Now, Jax Dane, Tim Storm get into it again.
Which we didn't actually fully see because
No.
it happened during the break.
Yes.
So it was really only when Joe came back to the screen after we'd had a couple of things. I think there might be a DLZ section and something else, and they come back to the desk and you see Tim looking pretty pissed off, to be perfectly honest with you, adjusting his headset and stuff, and it's kind of like, oh, what's happened here?
Yes.
And Joe kind of fills us in on what's going on, really. So.
And then it was announced, well, Tim announced that he would be wrestling Jax at 75, but it's been announced since today. We record this on a Wednesday evening, that it's going to be no DQ. Now, you are the fountain of knowledge of NWA, so I want you to tell people that maybe like me, a bit new, or people that have the history between Jax and Tim.
Jax and Tim have known each other for a very long time. I couldn't even tell you how many matches that they've had between you, but probably one of the most important things that you really need to know is that for Tim to win the World's Heavyweight Championships, he actually beat Jax Dane and got the belt, won the belt from Jax Dane. So that's probably the main kind of point that you really, really need to know with regards to their history. Now, Jax has been a previous guest on the show. He has won pretty much all bar one or two of the NWA belts that have been going around, even including some of the belts that have been retired from the kind of territory days, pre-Lightning One era sort of thing.
Yeah.
So there's maybe been a little bit of I wouldn't say animosity. They are very respectful of each other, and they've both admitted that they are respectful, apart from the fact that Jax now thinks that Tim's a little bit of a coward and a little bit scared of him, which I would beg to differ. But yeah, that's kind of your main thing. They've had some, I don't know, I want to say barnstormers in the past. Normally when the two of them get in the ring, they're both hard-hitting guys. It's a war. It's an absolute war between the two of them when they get in the ring. But yeah, the main kind of history you need to know is that it was Jax who Tim beat to win the world's heavyweight championship.
You think there's still a little bit of heat there because of the fact that he beat Jax for the title, and Jax probably, you know.
There may well be. There may well be. I'm not sure about that. I think there's so much respect there, and Jax, you'll have seen the other week had said on when the boys did the podcast the other week, had said that he has got respect for Tim as a wrestler. He's just not got respect for the purple jacket, so to speak. So I don't know when the last time they had a fight. I think it was several years ago. But I am, for one, very much looking forward to this one. You know that Tim will take it to Jax. He doesn't hide the fact that there are two sides to him, and you deserve whatever side that you receive from him. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
It will be. I'm very much, as I say, I'm pretty new to this, so that was a history lesson. I wasn't aware of the back, the back story of it. So for those of you that weren't interested, or wasn't so not interested, but we didn't know the history, now you know why there's been a bit of animosity between them two, and it's going to come to a head in a few short weeks now. We seem to be getting closer and closer to 75.
Yeah, it's not that, what, 3 weeks now, is it?
It's literally the week of All In, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I know. I'm
So
such a
it's 3
traitor.
weeks.
Yeah, it's 3 weeks, I think. Yeah, 3 weeks on 3 weeks because it's a double header, so it's the Saturday, Sunday. It'll be 3 weeks.
Yeah. So if you're not going to the Copper Box to watch Rev Pro, you can watch this on. You can watch NWA Night One on Fight TV. So I'll probably be doing that. I do have an interview with the Brooklyn Brawler that night, but I may dabble in Night One before Sunday. Anyway, moving swiftly on. The next match was Zion with Austin Idol, of course, against Odison. I mean, this doesn't even really get going, does it?
It didn't really at all. I like Odinson. I think he's a great wrestler. I loved watching him and Kratos tag together. I think they were a great tag team. But Zion, I don't really know much about. I'm not sure what I make of him yet. But obviously with Austin Idol in his corner, it's a strong pairing, even though Austin's not actually wrestling. But that match ended in a DQ.
It did, because he was getting battered with a chair.
Yeah.
Odison won the match because he was getting absolutely annihilated with the steel chair.
Like destroyed, not even just one or two hits, like absolutely leathered with it.
Yeah, literally. I mean, it was like the Rock and Foley back at the Royal Rumble all those years ago, for those people that remember that show, the I Quit match. It was absolutely brutal. A really good video package.
Oh, loved it. Loved it. I've actually just written, like, love it.
Now, this is the thing about it. When you want to hype up a match, or when you want to, your biggest match of the year, you want to put, the WWE do these movie type productions, and they're always great, the build up to these matches. And this really surprised me, because although we know NWA is kind of old school in a lot of ways. This video package for me is one of the best I've seen this year of Tyrus and EC3, and it's Tyrus's career over. It builds up to the Bull Road match with Tyrus' careers online, but this was one of the best video packages I've seen this year.
Yeah, it was very, very well done, and it got me hyped for the match. Like 100%. It was the first time I'd seen it last night as well as everyone else, so it wasn't like it had snuck out online beforehand or it had been tweeted out beforehand. So what we saw last night was the first viewing of it. Yeah, I'm hyped for this match now. Really, before I was kind of like, oh, it'll be all right, but yeah, that did it for me last night.
Yeah, it really got you to a point where you want to see that. Even if you was any skepticism about the match, that package alone just kills any skepticism. It's brilliant. It was fantastic. As I say, it was one of the best video packages I've seen this year. And I say we can't wait. A couple of weeks away. Excuse me. To see if Tyrus is still standing as champion. I have my doubts personally, but we will see.
Yeah, we shall. We shall
see. Now,
I've actually realised I've said 3 weeks. It's actually 2.5 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks on Saturday. So it's quicker than I thought.
Yeah, because I'm going away next week. So yeah, I come back that weekend. Wow, that's it.
It's going to be an action-packed weekend for me anyway, down in London for All In. I'm trying to squeeze 75 in at the same time, so
I've got to do the same thing since I'm not traveling. Well, I haven't got as far to go as you, but I've still got an action-packed weekend. Anyway, the main event time. I absolutely love this.
It was bonkers.
It was absolutely nuts. La Rebellion and Vampiro
making his NWA in-ring debut as well, no less.
He was against Mario Pardua and the brothers of Funkstruction. Yes, Yarbo, Ruffo, the Clowns are back. They're back.
They are back. I still don't know how they can wrestle in those shoes. My God, how do they do it?
Well, you don't see, just sidetracked to Raw, you see Seth Rollins' shoes this week.
I did. They're ridiculous.
I mean, he didn't wrestle in them as such, but
no.
Point being is, how the hell did he get a big boot up in those? Yeah, how do these clowns wrestle in these things? I will never know. But
Yeah, they do, and they do a good job, and they seemed very, very over with the fans. There was a lot of chance for them, which Mecha Wolf quite clearly, as you could see on camera, was not impressed with.
He wasn't impressed, was he? One bit. He did not like the fact that they were getting behind Yarbo and Ruffo.
Yeah,
But it was Vampiro that picked up the win.
it was indeed. It was indeed. It was great to see him in the ring, actually. It was great to see him do his thing.
He hits the nail in the coffin, which is his finisher or finisher, to pick up the win. And it gives them now a 2-1 now, if you're keeping count. Clowns have still won 2. They won the 2 tag matches. They've lost the 6-person tag. But in a couple of weeks, I believe, night 1, I think it's night 1, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's night 1, yeah.
They get the shot at La Rebellion, assuming the winners take on Blunt Force Trauma.
Yep.
Yeah, the night 2, which is again another great tag team there to go and see. Yet another. We say this every week about it being action packed, and I said at the start of the show, probably the shortest wrestling show that you'll see all week, but the one has had so much going on and so many questions, and they've still not always been answered yet. We've 2 weeks to go till 75. This is what makes NWA so good if you don't watch it. And you do have to get used to the fact that it is a small crowd. Like when I watch Impact, I have to get used to the fact it's a small crowd. It's not one of these big arenas where the crowd are, going crazy. The crowd do go crazy. It's just a smaller crowd. Get that out of your head and just watch the action in the ring.
Just watch it for the wrestling.
Just watch it for the wrestling. And that is, as I said just now, shortest program of the week. Had the most stuff going on, and it was another fantastic show for you.
Yep, well and truly, it is, and it's just from the start, straight out the bat. The show opens, the opening scene of the show when it goes live is in ring. Yep. So there's no, particularly this season, there's no sitting at the desk. Okay, you can hear Tim and Joe chat, but there's no sit at the desk with them for 5 minutes and go over the card. It is straight in, straight on, bam, straight off the bat. It's 55 minutes?
It was this week,
55 minutes. So it was a wee bit longer this week. Cram as much in as you possibly can. But yet, despite the fact there was 5 matches, there was still the filler. So there was still DLZ. There was still some interviews and segments with May Valentine talking to the wrestlers ahead of their matches and the build up to 75. You had the video package. You had the NWA shop ads and stuff like that. So despite that, they can still cram the extra stuff in, but I think with a lot of the matches have a time limit as well.
Yeah.
Which probably gives them a little advantage in terms of being able to get more matches on screen at the time. But yeah, it's if you don't watch it, give it a shot. Honestly, it's less than an hour of your life.
Yeah.
And it's on YouTube, and you can watch it whenever you like after it airs on a Tuesday night.
In the bath, having dinner, on your way. Well, not if you're driving on the way to work.
No, that's bad.
If you're traveling on the way to work, or you can just watch it. It doesn't, as Fee said. One question though: do you ever think they'll get a second hour?
I'm not sure. Obviously, they did run with USA on a Saturday, which was 30 minutes. That seems to have disappeared this last season. I'm not sure if they're planning on replacing that at all. I know that I've seen a lot of chatter online and a lot of words from Billy Corgan saying that he's looking to get some sort of TV deal and to keep an eye and things will be in the pipeline. So you just never ever know. I don't know if I'd want a second hour. I don't know if their format of recording would work for a second hour. I don't know if they record enough content because they'll run a pay-per-view and then they'll record 2 days. They'll tape for 2 days, which will run for 8 weeks or whatever. So we'll just need to wait and see. I know that the last tapings were done in Chicago. Was it Chicago? I can't remember now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that show you made that charity show before.
Joe, that's right, yeah, in Highland Park. And Joe had been saying that before 75, we're going to see the Boca Raton show that they did in conjunction with a promotion down in Florida. And I think there's potentially some other stuff coming up as well. And obviously, they've got their dates that they've put out with the Smashing Pumpkins tour across the States as well, where they're going to be there wrestling and probably going to be recording stuff. So I really don't know if it warrants a second hour or a second show. I kind of feel like at the moment the hour's enough, and I'm not sure if, I don't know. We'll watch and see.
You made a good point there. You said about a TV deal. Would that not hurt the YouTube stuff, or would it just be going on the case of going on both?
I think it potentially could hurt, because obviously if it's a TV deal, it's a station that we're not going to get access, you and I won't have access to, so we'll have to find other ways to view it, whether they do what they did before when it used to be on Fight. It would air live on Fright on a Tuesday night, and then it would go out on YouTube on the Friday.
Okay.
So there would be a delay. So it used to air at 6:05 on Fight TV, and then they would put it out on YouTube 3 or 4 days later. So it might be something like that. Which would be really frustrating for me as a fan, because I am such a big fan of the NWA. It would be really hard to avoid spoilers, really difficult.
Yeah.
And that would get to me, I think, in the end, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so Billy, if you're going to do it, make sure you still have it on YouTube.
Please.
So we can watch it over here. And you think about your international audience here.
And there is a big international
audience. There is an international audience. You went to Australia, you know there's an international audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've been over there, so you know it's established. So just think of that before you make any rash decisions. Because we like to watch this on YouTube on a Wednesday. It's great for us. And we can watch it live if we want to. You watch it live.
Yeah.
I tend to watch it on a Wednesday morning or a Wednesday on my lunch. But another action-packed show. But Fee, how busy are you now? What have you got coming up?
I have a show with Main Event Entertainment this Friday in Clydebank, which I am emceeing. I haven't seen the card for it yet, but I know that there's some great talent on it this weekend, which is lovely. I just had a weekend off there, which was marvellous. I had the house to myself. The kids had gone away with their dad, and I had a whole weekend on my own, which was lovely. A very rare occurrence. So yeah, Main Event Entertainment this weekend. Next weekend, I believe I am off again. And then I've got All In at the end instead of NWA. I'm so sorry, guys. The flights to St. Louis were just too expensive. I couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it.
I feel like such a traitor.
She's going to come and say hello to me instead.
Exactly.
I'll be all in. In terms of us, I mean, we've booked so many last couple of days. We've got a lot of Rev Pro guys coming on. We've got one of the announcers from Rev Pro. We've got one of the hostesses of a Rev Pro's streaming service coming on Friday. We've got a commentator coming on Tuesday. We've got one of the biggest movements in wrestling is coming on, the movement from LA Knight.
Wow.
He's coming on to, not LA Knight. I wish LA Knight was coming on. I love that. If you're listening, he
started didn't start in NWA, but he had a great run in NWA.
He did have a good run in NWA. He certainly did. And we follow up. We've got with Ignite Wrestling. You may not have known that we had Buckle Up recently.
Really?
Yeah. So
okay.
I know you were there. You were right next to a chop.
I was loudest chop I've ever heard. My ears are still ringing.
Well, Monday, if you keep an eye on our socials, so we announced the Turnbuckle Championship with Ignite. Ignite have given us 2 wrestlers already, but that's not the end of the story. So on Monday, we're going to be announcing the Turnbuckle Championship match for Gold Rush. The winner will be the first ever Turnbuckle Champion, and that's on September the 17th. Get your tickets. I will be there to hand out the title. Me and Andy will be there to hand out the title to the winner, which is going to be the main event of the show.
Good stuff. Get yourselves there. The last show was fab. I really enjoyed it. Believe me
when I tell you, tickets are already, we're 6 weeks out, and they're doing very, very well. Don't think there's any fronts left. I think second is very limited, so it's doing well. We're ready before we've announced this match. So, get down there, see us, see everybody, and you've got Mr. Bischoff soon.
I'm so excited. That's at the end of September. So I just realised I said I had the weekend off. That's a lie. I totally forgot. I hosted the Hooked on Wrestling watch party for SummerSlam on Saturday night.
How was
that? About that. That was fun. I bought 100 flower lays for that and beach balls and just had a giggle. So it was good fun.
I wish I could say that SummerSlam lived up to the fun that you had, but for me it didn't. So I had my rant about that earlier on today on one of our other shows. So I won't go any further, but I'm sure the party was great. Probably would have been better than watching it another. But guys, this has been the NWA Powerr Review. We're hoping for a guest next week. I've got to wait for confirmation. If it is, it's Blunt Force Trauma's manager, Aaron Stevens. You may know him as Damien Sandow from WWE. He may be coming on next week. We've just got to wait and see if times and everything mirror up. If not, then it will just be me and the lovely Fee again. But guys, this has been the NWA Powerr Review with Fiona Lochran, me, Adam Cousins. Until next time, everybody, buckle down, stay safe. Good night.